What's going on? Welcome back to the vlog. Whew. Today was a snow day. I'm just gonna put it out there right now. Today was a snow day. Well, a cold day, because it's been cold as absolute sin this week. If you watched the vlogs for the week, my other vlogs, it was -9 one day. -9. I can't explain. Okay, anyway, snow day. Really, one of the perks of being a teacher is we get time off. We get days off, like as adults, we get snow days or cold days or fog days. It could be one of the benefits. So today, I thought in lieu of my week in the life of a teacher video, because I'm not at my school, I would do a pros and cons list of teaching. So this is why teaching sucks and why it doesn't. So you guys, I pride myself in sort of keeping it real with people about teaching. You know, there's a lot of great content on the internet about teaching, a lot of stuff on all types of websites, and a lot of it has to do with, how to make your classroom cute, and cute activities and books and stuff, and how wonderful teaching is and how wonderful kids are, and teaching is just so wonderful all the time. It's not wonderful all the time. It's wonderful most of the time, but so I was gonna go ahead and talk today about just some things that suck and things that don't suck about teaching. So we're gonna start off with a positive note, because this, after all, is my profession of choice, and I do absolutely love doing it. So, pros. This is why teaching doesn't suck. Well, the first thing I said, and again, this is going to actually focus on, this is mostly going to focus on like the logistics of the teaching profession. Not like I became a teacher to make changes and to see that light bulb go on in a child's eye. We all know that. If you're a teacher, you love kids, you love working with kids. That's a given. I want to talk about the pros and cons of the other stuff that we don't talk about in college courses, that you don't talk about in professional developments. This is keeping it real. So here we go. Time off, obviously. I think this is something that I definitely take for granted, is our breaks that we get. So I have the unique experience of I've always been in school. So I got my first teaching job right out of college, so I've never not had summer break. I've never not had Christmas break, so I don't know what it's like to not have those things. So I think sometimes I forget how nice that is to have. My wife, Kristen, she doesn't get those breaks, and she works all through summer, and sometimes I go, wow, like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around that. You know, it's very spoiled in that regard. So that's one of the big pros, is we get time, obviously, we get time off. All the, like, not just summer, that's the big one. But you got your Christmas breaks, you got your spring breaks, you got your fall breaks, you got random holidays, you know, random professional development days where it's just everybody's different, every school is different. But that's a huge thing that I know that for sure I definitely don't appreciate as much as I probably should. And along those same lines, the idea of it actually just being a day job. This is a job that we go to every day, and we work during the day, the same hours. Yeah, some days are going to be longer, or some days are going to be shorter. There's a lot of outside work that we have to do, but the ability to not work weekends and to just work a simple day job, when this sort of came up for me as a big pro was Kristen and I, after we got married, we actually moved to Chicago. That's where I had my first teaching job for 3 years. I taught in Chicago. When we moved back to Ohio, we actually kind of took a bit of a leap of faith, and we moved back before I secured a teaching job. I had interviews lined up and stuff, but I didn't have a job yet. So as a backup plan, I looked into other career options just in case I couldn't find one for the upcoming school year. And I found all kinds of stuff. But it was like swing shifts, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the next day you work, and then for 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks you work the night shift, and then or you work sometimes on weekends and sometimes on nights, and the ability to just have a day job where you work the same hours every day and you're home for supper every evening, that's huge. That's a huge benefit. So that's like logistically, and then obviously the another big one, which is the health benefits. I mean, I'm not an expert on any of that, but I know I've got pretty good health coverage and stuff. And you know, when you think about before I got this job right now, when I was looking into that, that's something that I didn't even consider. I was considering working construction. I was considering working retail, anything to just have a job. But then not every place offers insurance for their employees. So you have to buy it out of your own pocket, supplemental. So anyway, those are some big pluses, obviously, about teaching logistically. So let's talk about why teaching sucks. So teaching can suck sometimes because you've really got a job, you've got a career that, this is one of the only careers where you can't actually do your work at work. What do I mean? So I mean, when we're at school, we're teaching, completely involved in what's going on in the school day, and we don't have a lot of time to do other stuff that gets thrown at us. And you know what I'm talking about. Paperwork, testing, random stuff that we have to do because we're teachers that nobody really knows why we're doing it. Whatever the state throws down your throat, all this stuff that we have to do, professional developments, things and whatnots, and all this stuff that we have to do, we can't do it really during the day. Now, yes, we've got our planning periods, which in a perfect world, that's where we would get this stuff done. But I don't know about you, when my planning period comes up, I'm not like, all right, let's settle down and do some paperwork for the state. I don't want to do that. I want to plan my lesson for the afternoon. I want to go back and look at my exit tickets. I want to talk to my students. I want to clean up my classroom. Like I don't want to do that other stuff, right? So the idea is we have to do this all outside of our contract hours or at home, and teaching can quickly, if you let it, can quickly sort of take over and sort of consume you if you let it. And that can be good and bad. So if you think about it, for me, just about every day, the last thing that I think about before I fall asleep is something about school. And the first thing that I wake up thinking is something about school, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like I said, you can let it take over your life. And I get this Sunday feeling every Sunday where I feel like I can't go and do something fun Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening a lot of times. And I've done videos about this on the past on how to sort of X that Sunday feeling for good, but I still struggle with it. And I have this feeling that I need to be home lesson planning or thinking about school. Oh gosh, I can't do it. It's Sunday night. Are you kidding me? I can't go do anything. I got my lesson plans. But in reality, my lesson plans only take a couple of hours. I don't need the whole day, but I get this feeling because teaching is so much a part of who I am that it can consume me and it can affect my social interactions. And I know some of you are feeling some burnout and overwhelming, especially if it's your first couple years of teaching. It's incredibly difficult and incredibly stressful. So teaching sucks, but it doesn't suck either. Another thing that does not suck about teaching is obviously the fact that for most of the day and in most situations, I want to say about 80% of the time, we've got, at least for me, your school might be different, I've got a lot of freedom. So what I mean by that is I have to teach certain things that are delegated by the state that I live in and also my school district, but how I choose to teach those things is up to me. And when I teach those things is up to me. So I can say, you know what? Yesterday they didn't get that concept, so I'm going to go ahead and reteach the lesson, and I'm going to add this new thing and that new thing. It offers, teaching as a profession, that if you're a creative person, it offers a lot of creativity, a lot of creative thought, a lot of critical thinking. It allows you to really exercise those creative muscles, at least for me, and like really think outside the box. Like how can I truly reach my students? What can I do? How can I make my lesson better? That one student that's having trouble with their behavior, how can I reach that kid? Like, it provides a lot of critical thinking, and for me, I need that. Mundane things or tedious tasks, I hate doing. So these deep level thinking things that come about by being a teacher, that's why teaching does not suck. Technology in the schools. I don't know how many times I've had a plan to go down to the computer lab and do some meaningful instruction, and all of the computers are just magically not working. All of them. Or I have a lesson ready to go. I spent my whole prep getting ready to go. I've got my YouTube video pulled up. I tested it 3 or 4 times. The speakers are working. Everything's working. Kids get set down. I'm all excited. And the video won't play. The internet failed or something. Who knows? Who knows why? It just fails from time to time. So you can put all this effort into a lesson or a task or even a day or unit, and things can be completely out of your control that can come in and say, not today, Mr. Thain, not today. And that happens in other jobs as well, but it seems to happen quite often in teaching, and coupled with the technology not working, we have to also sort of navigate the waters of teaching 20 to 25 students that have different abilities and needs and ideas and behaviors, and you might have a student who's having a bad day that can completely destroy everything you worked for that day, and that can be very frustrating. And I think about other professions and other jobs, and for me, the most frustrating part is I will do everything in my power to make sure that everything is going to go smooth. I spend a long time thinking about my lesson or the day, thinking about, okay, how can I create a calm, predictable, safe environment for my students? I'm being positive, I'm on a roll, I'm having good interactions with my students, I'm being fun and exciting. And the student's like, nope, not today, I'm not doing anything you say. I hate school. And it's like, why? Everything is so cool around here. Like, we're having fun. Like, what's going on? It can get frustrating when everything that you try doesn't work. Nope, not today. Everything that you've learned in school or in a professional development, all these techniques that you've learned, you try them. Nope, not today, not going to work. Because it all comes down to if a student wants to follow directions or not. At the end of the day, we can't really make our students do anything. So you're kind of at the mercy of your students from time to time, and that can suck. It can really suck. Another reason why teaching doesn't suck is, well, the big reason why teaching doesn't suck, at least for me, the sense that I'm doing something that truly matters, for me, that's very important. And, I'm sort of a deep thinker type of person, and I think a lot about life and my legacy that I'll leave behind and what I've done with this life that I've been given. And every day I feel like I'm making some sort of impact or difference. Not saying that other jobs don't, but for me, teaching is my way I feel like that I'm making an impact for the greater good of society. On a day-to-day basis, I'm doing meaningful work. And for me, that's really important. Like, there are a lot of other professions you can do to do meaningful work, but for me, I chose teaching, and it fills me up with that sort of fulfillment of doing something that means something, and knowing that even though my students, especially kindergartners, might not be able to express it or show it, the difference that I'm able to make on a consistent basis just by showing up every day and being consistent and stable and knowing that I am going to keep them safe, especially, if you teach in a urban area or a impoverished area, being that rock for your students can be, even if everything you do that day is wrong and all your lessons failed, you were there and you were there for them and you smiled and said hello, and that can be huge. And so that's why, truly, that's a big reason why teaching doesn't suck for me. And that's what keeps me, that's basically what gets me out of bed in the morning and keeps me going every day, is knowing that, today I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make an impact. And that's huge. That's huge. And I know a lot of teachers feel that way. And when that feeling goes away is when I know that I will need to be done. And one of those things about teaching is every state is different. In some states, you got to teach so many years before you can retire and this and that. And I just think that's so dumb, because there are teachers that are ready to retire that can't. They got to teach 5 more years, and they've already checked out, and I don't know that you can't predict right now. Like right now I'm thinking, heck, I don't plan on retiring ever. I'm enjoying teaching. In 10, 15, 20 years from now, who knows how I'll feel, but I'm not going to be able to retire yet. So it's one of those dilemmas where it's like, there's a lot of bureaucratic red tape policymakers that don't know what they're talking about. A lot of the people that make our policies have never set foot in a classroom and taught a lesson, so they don't know what's going on. So that's another big reason why teaching sucks, is because there's people, all these outside influences that influence what we do, but they don't know what they're doing or talking about. It's a big old legislation game, or it's unfortunately a lot of money to be made with these curriculums and these publishers and stuff that we can't control. But if you can get past all the stuff that sucks about teaching, it's an incredibly fulfilling job. And I honestly, there are times where I'm like, gosh, why did I pick this? Or I don't know how much longer I can teach. But you get through those days. We all have them, and don't be ashamed if you have one of those days. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I love doing this, and I'm gonna keep doing it until either my body says no more or until they kick me out. I'm gonna keep on teaching kids. So thanks for watching, and next week I'll be back at it again with the Inside the Classroom of the Week video, just because I'll be in there. Hopefully it won't be so cold as last week. But anyways, find your gift, share it with the world, and remember, you are worth it. See you tomorrow.